Yo, ladies, gentlemen, fellas, welcome back to the channel. Right now we're going live for the Stardom Cinema. If you're watching right now on the replay or listening on the podcast, hope you're having a fantastic start to your day and week. We're here on Thursday. It's noon. We're looking into week 2 right now. We're going to answer a bunch of Stardom Cinema questions. So if you're not able to answer live because you're watching on the replay and you're going to leave a comment or something, I'll try and get to it. But there's a lot of comments coming in, so we're trying to get all of those out there on this live stream right here. And there's a really good chance that just based on listening to the live stream, your question might actually be answered itself if you can't ask it live. Or there's also a really good chance that you can kind of make your interpretation of what I would say based on the fact that the guy that you're asking about, I've said yes to like almost every single time compared to similar players. So I see some people hopping into the live stream. We're going to get all into that in just a second. So welcome back, everybody. I appreciate it right now as we had a huge opening week 1 of the NFL, 4 live streams, like 5 or 6 other pieces of pre-recorded content went up. Thank you so much for all the support. If you can continue to support the channel by hitting the like button, takes a second of your time, especially if you're watching live right now, hit that bad boy. Bottom right-hand corner, you can hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on the podcast or watching live or watching on YouTube on the replay, you can actually go ahead to the Vetri Show over on iTunes. If you leave a review, you have a chance to win a $50 giveaway that I give away once a week at the end of the week. I round up all the people, leave a way for me to contact you, say something nice about the show. It takes literally 30 seconds, 5-star review. Seeing people entering in right now, so thank you a ton. This live stream is going to be sponsored by Monkey Knife Fight, which they're doing crazy giveaways right now. So if you deposit a Monkey Knife Fight, promo code SALNFL, it's a player prop site, the more or less receptions. It's a very simple game. You think over under 5.5 receptions for player X, we'll say Chris Godwin, right? I don't know if that's his actual line, or over under 16.5 fantasy points, right? Something like that. You can just use that. It's a player prop site, but if you use the promo code SALNFL, you're going to get my DFS course, and they're doing a $50 bonus for the NFL. I don't know how long they're going to do it, maybe just like the first couple of weeks. $50 site credit. So you put $10 in, they'll give you $50 Rooskies, and then they'll also give you my daily fantasy course. It's a DFS course that's about 10 hours long. All of that, promo code SALNFL. It'll be linked down in the description. So I don't know if it's a limited time offer. They haven't really put a name on how long this $50 bonus will be, but check it out. Monkey Knife Fight, promo code SALNFL. So with all that said, I'm about to go for the next hour. It's noon Eastern time, 12:03, a couple minutes past, and we're just going to answer a bunch of questions right now. So let me pop out the questions on my other screen right here. I have my projections up on the other screen, which if you ever do want to sign up for Patreon, you get all the projections, you get all the rankings each and every week of the NFL season. They will be going over into the XFL season as well once that starts off. Seems like The Rock is going to have that bad boy up and loaded, and a bunch of other tools. I'm working on the game-by-game notes that will be out tomorrow morning. It's looking like it's going to be about 25 pages of game-by-game notes, so whether you're a sports bettor, whether you play DFS season long, all that stuff is going to help you a lot. Every single player that's going to be fantasy relevant on every single team for the Sunday games, there's 13 of them, 26 teams, is going to have a breakdown initially of that player's matchup, exactly what they were doing in week 1, and their outlook for week 2 can be seen in the projections, rankings, and all of that. So a lot of questions coming in, about to answer all of them. Let's get into it. I'm starting Lamb over DJ Moore this week. It's a gut call. I'm going to be starting DJ Moore there. I have DJ Moore projected for a lot more points than Lamb. I actually like Lamb this week in like all formats. I would be trying to start Lamb depending on what your like flex options are, if you're in like a 4 wide receiver league or a 2 flex spot. But right now, if I just go to my projections, and obviously you're telling me it's a gut call, so you know that you're just doing this. But the problem that I have with gut calls is, yes, adding human intuition into your questions and all that is important. You can't just look at data. But if you make gut calls that are like, you're banking on somebody that's points are way too far. I have CeeDee Lamb projected for 10.7 points, and I have DJ Moore projected for 16.6. So I have DJ Moore projected for 6 more fantasy points. Like if it was like a 1 or 2 point difference, or even a 3 point difference, sure, like go ahead. But if you get into the habit of making gut calls, and eventually one hits for you, and right, but these are not odds that are going to be that great, right? It's like a plus 400 chance or plus 300 chance that CeeDee Lamb, let's say, outscores DJ Moore this week, plus 250, right? It's not in your odds. You're going to continue to make those gut calls more times than not. The general public, maybe not you individually, but the more that you just rely on gut calls that are bad gut calls, you're going to lose more times than not. So the way that I play season-long DFS is just trust their projections. They're basically like cash lineups in DFS. So in my situation, yes, I'm going to play my studs, my 2nd or 3rd round pick, maybe a 4th round pick in DJ Moore. I'm starting every single time, especially when he projects out for 6 more points. Even if I think this is the week that CeeDee Lamb has the best matchup, I'm just going to stick with it because over the season, if I make 100 calls this way, I'll get the majority of them right and win, as opposed to making them the other way with my gut, and I'll get the majority of them wrong. So CeeDee Lamb, definitely not starting over DJ Moore. What's up, everybody? I see everybody hopping in here. Ben, Jude, everybody saying what's going on. Can you start 2 of these players for me, Sal? Ryan asks, start 2. Fuller, Juju, Woods, and A.J. Brown. So, yeah, I think this is actually a really good question because we know Fuller just went off, and now this week he's not going to be looking that good for me. The first one is it's going to be pretty easily. Robert Woods is going to be a yes for me there. Just an insane target share, right? He was factored into that offense, 2nd amongst all wide receivers after week 1 in yards after the catch, which is a stat that he absolutely dominated last year. Another 10 targets coming off of back-to-back years of 130-plus targets. Well on pace for that, and he looked like the clear number one there. So it's going to be Woods for me. I will not be starting Will Fuller this week. I know he had a fantastic role, 30-plus% target share, looked amazing out there. I am pretty scared of this Baltimore Ravens secondary, by all accounts. I'm not going to be going to Will Fuller when you have the better options that I am seeing you ask me about. So we're going to be going with then between A.J. Brown and Juju. I currently have Juju projected for 14.1 points. Denver's defense did look good, but I'm not too worried about the matchup for Juju specifically. A.J. Brown I have projected for 13.7 points against Jacksonville. So I have these guys as a toss-up. I'm going to go to A.J. Brown over Juju here. Obviously, Juju had the big week one. A.J. Brown should have had a bigger week one, 8 targets. There was actually a touchdown that was overthrown. He would have had a huge game if that's the case, and there's nothing in Jacksonville to stop A.J. Brown. The concern would be that they're just going to throw the ball like 20 to 25 times, like probably just 25 times, and Derrick Henry runs another 30 times as their double-digit favorites. So definitely Robert Woods, and then it's a coin flip between Juju and A.J. Brown. I'll lean A.J. Brown in that one. I don't expect Corey Davis's big week one to really go into anything. He didn't do anything special in week one, right? Like he got his 7 or 8 targets and he had his 7-yard, 8-yard receptions. It wasn't anything fantastic or that made me scream like Corey Davis is a different player now. Sup, y'all? Good luck this week. Good luck to you as well, Matt. Tom says Mixon or Sanders in the flex spot. So for your season-long league, I assume that you're asking me about, I will be going, if you're asking me about your season-long league, I'm actually going to probably be going, right now I have Mixon projected for about 16 fantasy points. Right now I have Sanders and he plays tonight. Right now I have Sanders projected for 16 exactly. I have them as pretty much coin flips. The matchup for Sanders on the ground isn't great, especially if the Eagles' O-line is going to be banged up against the Rams. But the Rams are going to get a lot of pressure either way against this Eagles' O-line, even if they get Lane Johnson back and they get a little bit healthier, which leads its way to more drop or checkdowns. Joe Mixon's actually going to have a pretty tough matchup. The Browns, even though they got destroyed week one, they were the number one run defense after 1 week from an efficiency standpoint. They held Lamar Jackson down, something that really no team has done in the past. They held all the running backs, Mark Ingram, who didn't get a huge workload, J.K. Dobbins, who they actually held down outside of him getting into the end zone a couple of red zone touches. So I'm going to go with Miles Sanders over Mixon for this specific week. But, I mean, if you're playing a season-long league and you own both of, like, what are you, in a 6-man league or something? Like, you should be able to start both of Sanders and Mixon. Those are, like, 2 first- and second-round picks right there. What's going on? Kenny says, fellas. Yeah, ladies, gentlemen, fellas. Hope you're having a good day. A lot of questions coming in. I like it. Ryan B says, Eckler and Terry or Jonathan Taylor, half-point PPR. I can only start one. The answer there is Jonathan Taylor for me. I mean, I think you have great options. I don't know how you can't start Eckler and Jonathan Taylor. Also, where do you rank David Johnson in half-point PPR for the rest of the season? I don't really have those rankings for the rest of the season. I couldn't tell you. A top 20 running back. But Jonathan Taylor is going to be a week in and week out top 10 running back. He's close to Eckler, right? Eckler is a fantastic matchup against the Chiefs, who have been terrible against the run for 3 weeks now. They were the second worst team last week against the run from an efficiency standpoint. Also giving up like over 5 yards per carry if you want to use that stat. And Eckler had 20 touches. I know nobody wants to talk about, or everybody wants to talk about how he only saw 1 target because Tyrod Taylor only threw 3% of the time to his running backs. But yeah, he had 19 touches on the ground, which is a career high. So Eckler's in a good spot. I'm just going to lean to Jonathan Taylor, who I think is going to see more touches than Eckler. And obviously, at this point, it seems like more involvement in the passing game. Philip Rivers targeted running backs 37% of the time last week. Would you prefer that we save questions about the Cincinnati and Cleveland game for the stream later? Yes. So, yeah, good question. I'll be going live around 6 p.m. It's already scheduled, so you can click the reminder so you get it. You can hit the notification bell as well on this channel. Also, by the way, hit the subscribe, hit the like button, all that stuff if you have not yet already live or on the replay. Do all that stuff. It takes 2 seconds of your time. Totally free, and it really helps this channel grow. But yeah, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. tonight, I'll be covering the showdown slate, which has got like $300,000 to first between the teams of Ohio. Joey Burrow and the Bengals against Baker Mayfield, Odell, the gang, Landry, all those guys. And the Browns, I'll be covering that tonight for an hour. So any showdown specific questions that you have for that, for a DFS perspective, a DraftKings Super Draft, I'll answer later today. So if they come in on this stream, I'm just not going to answer them because we're going to have an hour later. This is going to be just specifically for season-long stardom sit-ems, 2v2s, that type of stuff. What's up, Sal? What's going on, Eric? What's up, my guy? What's going on, Pete? How you doing, man? Welcome. Pete, hope you're having a good day. Pete, I have not caught any of the UFC shows, but I'm definitely going to be watching them for this week. I've been playing it on the low keys, but last week I didn't because of the NFL. But I mean, we finally got. I mean, I guess I'm not as being as much of an expert in it. We probably had some really good matchups, but a main event that I really want to see, I guess we can say, and just an absolutely stacked division. Sal, thoughts on Mostart? I know RG3 is just trying to prompt me to say never Mostart, which is going to be the answer always. Mostart, yeah, number 1 wide receiver in overall receiving yards, right? Out of all the running backs, he had like 95 or 97 overall yards as a receiver. He had the one big long touchdown, right? That's how he got his week off. He had a fine week, and now there's going to be Tevin Coleman involved a little bit more. But yeah, all the San Fran running backs are always in play, especially when they don't have weapons. And he had like a 70-yard touchdown. When you have that, you're going to get there. Thanks for the streams and info, says Matt. Sal, buddy, big fan. Hey, Matt, thank you for being here. Appreciate you a ton. How you doing today, Sal? I'm doing very well, thank you. Let's go. Sal, what's up, fella? What's going on? Need 2 wide receivers in a flex between... Okay, so here we go. We got a lot of names here. A.J. Brown, Shark, McLaurin, Jarvis, Campbell, and Goddard. I appreciate you. So if you need 2 wide receivers in a flex, I'm probably not going Goddard there. I'm going to cross off the tight end. I like Campbell a lot this week, but those other options that you're telling me also look good. This matchup for Jarvis Landry is going to be pretty strong, so I kind of lean to go there. Going to get some Mackenzie Alexander, but also go out wide for parts of it. So we're going to go A.J. Brown is a yes in that standpoint. You're going to see a lot of passing attempts this week from Minshew, who went 95%, 19 to 20 last week, which is good, which should help Shark overall. So I'm going to be going with A.J. Brown there. I'm going to be going with Shark there. And then in your flex spot, we have to pick between Campbell, Goddard, and Landry, and McLaurin. So you have a lot of good wide receivers. We're going to cross out Goddard. I do like Paris Campbell. I have him projecting out decent, but I have Jarvis Landry for more. When you compare that to McLaurin, we can look at McLaurin right now for what I have on Terry McLaurin's projection. Terry McLaurin, I have for 14.6. I have Landry pretty close. So my answer is going to be Terry McLaurin, DJ Shark, and A.J. Brown. We're going to sit Landry, Goddard, and Campbell for this week. But good on you to draft or pick up Campbell. I like Campbell a lot. Sorry, boss. Sal's on. Somebody said that's funny. Tannehill or Stafford? Is it close? I'm going to be going Stafford there. But it is close because of the matchup. Quick question. Why is everybody sleeping on Baker and Landry this week? I like both. If we're talking about just the night game, which we'll talk about later, but I don't know if people are sleeping on them from a season-long standpoint. I'm starting Landry, I think, in 2 of my leagues. I mean, they're both like really deep leagues, so like deep bench leagues and all that type of stuff. And like you could roster like 2 flexes in one. 2 flexes in really both of the ones that I'm talking about. But yeah, I like Landry this week. Fuller, Landry, or Campbell? I'll go Landry there. Landry played well last week. I mean, look, 6 targets, caught 5 of them, like 56 yards. He had a fine game, especially for how inefficient Baker Mayfield was, especially on Odell's passes. Odell had 10 targets, and I believe 5 of them were uncatchable targets. They were deemed uncatchable. So really, he caught 3 balls on 5 targets, Odell. So he actually had a much better week than it seems. Atlanta versus Dallas is all you need this week. Offensive shootout. Okay, so we're talking about season long, so that doesn't really matter. Hunter Gurley for my flex spot. The answer is Gurley there. Gurley didn't play a ton of overall snaps. He really didn't need to. They got up or they got down huge and they started to just really go 4 wide a lot of the time. You didn't see a lot of Gurley on the field. He only played like 50% of the snaps, or I believe it was 45% of the snaps. I can get the exact number right now. But Gurley played fine. Like the amount of touches that you got out of Gurley, you were happy with. You probably would have liked to see more overall snaps, but the way that the game went just got it a little bit out of hand. He had 48% of the snaps. He saw 68% opportunity share, 14 carries in 5 targets. So you got 19 opportunities out of Gurley in week 1, 16 overall touches when you factor in his 2 receptions for I think just 1 yard. I'm going to be going Gurley there over Hunt. I think a lot of people are jumping up and down about Hunt. You could be right, but I think it's a little bit too soon. They were trailing big time in a game. Anytime that they're trailing a lot, Nick Chubb is going to get game scripted out, and Hunt's going to come on the field more. And that's what happened. Hunt averaged 10 touches per game last year, right? What did Hunt have in week 1? 15, 16 touches? Yeah, they're trailing by 2 or 3 scores the entire game. The pass catch running back is going to come on the field. Nick Chubb was fantastic. 10 carries, 60 yards. That's fantastic. Nick Chubb in a really good matchup tonight. A banged-up Cincinnati team as well, but also a really good matchup. Yeah, I think Nick Chubb's fine. If you're talking about trying to sit him, I wouldn't. If you want to start Hunt, that's fine, but this is not a 50-50 split. I've heard people on podcasts this week say that this is a 50-50 running back split. If after this week the game stays closer, they're ahead, and it's still a 50-50 clear split, I know Kareem Hunt got extended and all this stuff, then I'll start to lean that way. But after 1 week, I'm not going to have the hot takes that seems like everybody is that, oh my God, it's a 50-50 split. They were trailing in a major way, and they put their pass-catching running back on the field, right? That's why it led to more touches. Pick 2, Metcalf, Hollywood Brown, and A.J. Brown. Metcalf and A.J. Brown. Superflex, pick 2, Stafford, Wentz, and Burrow. Wentz and Stafford. Burrow was really bad in the passing game, really bad last week. He had a really difficult matchup. Like, let's not get it twisted. Even without Derwin James, that Chargers secondary is lethal. Like, their cornerbacks, getting Chris Harris as your second best cornerback, your slot cornerback, Desmond King, and obviously Casey Hayward. So Burrow, like the upside from him was on the ground. Everybody saw the rushing mobility, the big touchdown run, but in the air, he was not good. So the rushing mobility obviously helps in Superflex, but I'll take Wentz, who's going to have a better offensive line, should be fine. A lot of air yards that weren't realized last week for both Rieger and Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson, number 1. Rieger, I believe, number 7 in overall air yards. There's going to be some big plays in that Eagles offense. Maybe not this week. I'm going to assume there will be, but coming soon. And Stafford usually has fine games against the Packers. Their secondary, although in prevent defense a lot in the second half, did not look great. Their pass rush looked fine, but the offensive line, as it was last year and the year before, pretty much right around, hovering around top 10, kind of quietly, even though they lost Graham Glasgow, the Detroit Lions, their offensive lineman, went to Denver. They still looked pretty good in week 1. They were top 11 overall. Stafford or Cam Newton this week? I'll be going with, it depends on your league settings. If it's a 4-point passing touchdown, I'll go with Cam Newton. If it's a 6-point passing touchdown, I'll go with Stafford. A.J. Brown versus Gallop. So I actually think I have Gallop here. Gallop's grading out really well for me this week in this matchup. I have Gallop for 14.8 fantasy points. I have A.J. Brown for 13.7, so I'm going to go Gallop there. A.J. Brown versus Gallop again. I'll go Gallop. Brady versus Carolina or Ryan versus Dallas? So you have to keep an eye on Brady versus Carolina. Mike Evans obviously banged up last week, was limited. He played all his snaps, but limited in terms of his actual abilities out there playing banged up, and Godwin's in the concussion protocol. So keep an eye on that. If both Evans and Godwin are good to go and they seem healthy, I'll go Brady there. Otherwise, it's Matt Ryan. Ryan asks, David Johnson, Shark, McLaurin, Hines at flex and a half-point PPR. Pick one of those players. David Johnson. Hollywood Brown, A.J. Brown, or Metcalf? My answer there is going to be Metcalf. Miles Sanders are mixed in my flex, starting CHE and Jacobs no matter what. I don't know how this man got Jacobs, Miles Sanders, CHE, and Mixon. Those are literally like 4 of the top 12 picks in the draft, and this man has all of them. Are you in a 4-man league, Tom? But the answer is going to be, for me, Miles Sanders. Miles or Mixon in the flex, starting CHE and Jacobs. So he donates $5. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate the super chat. I'll say that the answer is going to be Sanders, but he's ready to go. Everything indicates that he's ready to go, so I don't think you have a risk in terms of like you have to play Mixon. I don't think you have a wrong answer here. I would also start Jacobs and CHE over them, so that's the right off the bat right thing to do. But Miles Sanders and Mixon, I'm going to go Miles Sanders. It's close. I have them both projecting out for like 16 fantasy points. It's close. They're both in not the greatest of matchups. And you have them both coming in as underdogs. They're both pass catchers, but I think Miles Sanders is going to be more involved as the pass catcher, and you saw that in week 1, at least with Mixon, not really running a ton of routes, which was kind of concerning. What's your top 3 stacks? We're talking about season-long curving, so Sunday morning I can talk about some of that stuff, but also on the Closing Thoughts podcast is where we'll talk more in depth about that. Paris Campbell or Terry McLaurin in a full-point PPR. Terry McLaurin. You convinced me to go DJ over Lamb. Nice. I hope it pays off. I think it will. Hunt or Gurley PPR at the flex? Gurley. Ridley or Woods for the rest of the year? That's a really tough one. I'm going to still stick with Woods, but obviously Ridley had the big week when he gets in the end zone. But I'll still stick with Woods. Matt Ryan or Deshaun Watson? I'll go Matt Ryan. Melvin Gordon or Dwight Smith? Well, I don't know who the hell Dwight Smith is, but the answer is Melvin Gordon. Even in a tough matchup, I'll go with that. DeAndre Swift, he had a lot of snaps compared to Kerryon. I think he's going to be needed more this week as an underdog against the Packers. I think he should have a better game this week because obviously he had a really bad week 1. 2 drops, obviously drops the game winner for DeAndre Swift. Not a great look. But I'll go Melvin Gordon, assuming that Philip Lindsay is out. It's a brutal matchup, but you're going to get a lot of the overall red zone usage out of Gordon, which I don't think you'll ever get out of Swift with Adrian Peterson there and Kerryon. Any thoughts on Drew Brees moving forward? Do I start him without playing Thomas? I don't like Drew Brees to begin with this season. He was like my 14th overall ranked quarterback, so I have no interest in Drew Brees at all. Like, I don't want him on any of my teams. I don't think I have him on any of my teams. There's zero interest in me in playing Drew Brees. And now without Michael Thomas, it looks a lot worse. So, coming into the season, there was 13 other quarterbacks that I wanted before him. So I'm pretty sure week in and week out, there's going to be another quarterback that I want to play over Drew Brees. Cook or CHE on DraftKings? I'm not answering any questions for DraftKings. Just start him, sit hims on season long. DraftKings stuff will be on Sunday morning show. Goddard or Gesicki? I will go with Goddard. Are we overlooking Ryan Tannehill this week? I don't know if you're overlooking him. If you're talking about for season-long perspectives, I have a lot of other quarterbacks graded out better, so it depends if he's your starter or he's your backup. I have Tannehill for 17 fantasy points. If I rank Ryan Tannehill right now, my overall scoring, Ryan Tannehill is projected for just the Sunday slates. Nothing for tonight, Thursday, and nothing for Monday night or Sunday night. Just the 1 and 4 o'clock games I have my projections up for. I have Ryan Tannehill grading out as my 5, my 16th overall projected quarterback. So I don't think anybody's overlooking him. I think we know what they're going to do. They're 10-plus point favorites in a very easy matchup. He's probably going to throw the ball 25 times, and you're going to get 25-plus rush attempts out of Derrick Henry, right? More times than not. So I don't think we're overlooking him compared to guys who are going to throw the ball maybe 20 more times than him, right? Matt Ryans, Matt Staffords, those types of guys. Brady or Ryan? I'll go Brady if his receivers are healthy. Ryan is obviously a pretty safe option each and every week. In your opinion, which running back will get the most volume from James Robinson, Jonathan Taylor? Jonathan Taylor's the answer there. It's not even close. Jonathan Taylor last week, in a week where Marlon Mack saw like a bunch of touches already, right? Jonathan Taylor still saw what? Including his receptions, like a crazy amount of like 18 touches last week, and that's with Marlon Mack seeing like 6 to 8 touches. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's going to be an absolute nutshot this year. Cook or Ertz? If you're talking about Jared Cook or Ertz, Flex, Snell or Robbie Anderson? I don't really like Snell this week in any formats. I don't really love Robbie Anderson, though. I'll go Anderson, but I'm trying to find somebody else there. Yeah, I'm not a really big fan of Benny Snell. Obviously, if Connor's out, Benny Snell looks better, but he's in a brutal matchup one, like a really bad matchup, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to like. Jalen Samuels is going to be the pass-catching guy. Snell will be the goal line back and the first and second down back, and he'll average like 3 yards per carry and have 15 carries for like 50 yards, right? Like, I don't know what I'm doing with that. If he gets into the end zone, fine, he helps you out there, but otherwise it's going to be pretty much a bust. Like, he's a fine waiver wire pickup for like the next month and a half, if indeed James Conner is indeed going to be out for that long. But for this specific matchup, it's brutal. They just held Derrick Henry to 3.7 yards per carry, didn't let him get any huge runs on 31 attempts and 34 total touches. That's Derrick Henry, behind what is likely going to be a better offensive line and a better overall talent. Not saying Benny Snell can't get it done. He looked very good, but a much different matchup going from the Giants' defensive line, which was fine against the run, like coming in, to this Denver defensive line, which was stout last year, number 1 in the league, and yet again, number 1 after 1 week in run defense. Allen Lazard, Corey Davis, Randall Cobb, or Justin Jefferson for the third wide receiver slot. Not Jefferson. It's going to be between Allen Lazard and Corey Davis. I'll go with Allen Lazard there. Swift or Kirk in my flex? Definitely Kirk. Brady or Watson in season long? I will go with Watson. Matt Ryan or Watson? I will go with Watson. Flex spot, PPR, Keenan Allen, Devin Singletary, Ruggs, or AJ Green. You got to keep an eye on Ruggs' injury. He seems fine. That's a really tough one. I think I'm going to go with AJ Green. Should have had a touchdown last week. He looked very good last week, AJ Green, relative to all the other receivers on that team. Let's go with Keenan Allen. Saw his targets, but nothing really deep downfield. Let's go to AJ Green. Goddard, Jonnu, or Gesicki. I'll go with Goddard. How you doing, Sal? How are you? Should I start an A.J. Brown or Marquise Brown? I'll go A.J. Brown. Who do you think will be better this season? Definitely A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown or Gallop in the flex this week? I'll go with Gallop. Josh Jacobs or Miles Sanders, season long. Josh Jacobs. Jorge donates $2. He says, Mostert still a no-no. What about tight end Olsen/Disley? I'll go Olsen there, but those Seattle tight ends are kind of gross to me. A lot of other better options. Mostert still a no-no. I don't own any Mostert in season-long leagues. I don't plan to play him in DFS at all, especially with Coleman, who's now going to see more than 6 snaps. Look, Mostert had a really nice overall long touchdown reception, right? If you're gonna have like a huge touchdown reception each week, then yeah, I'll play you. But I don't plan on that continuing to be the case. I do plan on them to continue to use their their running backs a lot, though, which they always do. But especially with Kittle banged up, with Ayuk banged up, with no Deebo Samuel still, right? Like Trent Taylor and Kendrick Bourne might be their top receiving options this week. I don't think it happens. I think Kittle will be fine, but it might happen. All right, let me just answer this. Also, I'll point out right now, please do hit the like, subscribe, and all that stuff. Once again, this is going to be sponsored by Monkey Knife Fight. $50 deposit bonus and my DFS course, NFL 10 hours. You'll get if you deposit $10 on Monkey Knife Fight using the link below or the promo code SALNFL. Use those things. You'll get all of those benefits, all of the dollar rooskies to bet the over-unders on receptions and all that type of stuff. How many people are watching this live? Let's check it out. I was listening to Joe Rogan earlier. We got 255 people watching this live. Not bad for a afternoon, week 2 on a Thursday. So I appreciate all of you in here. I assume we're going to have a lot of people later on tonight. Daniel Jones, Tannehill, or Goff this week? I'll go Goff. Hunter Gurley for the flex. Gurley. Hunter Henry or Herndon? Hunter Henry or Herndon's actually a really good one. Let me find this. Between Hunter Henry and Herndon, I will go with a lot of questions coming in. I see all these questions. I love Kirk this week. Yeah, so do I. Sal, what's your thoughts on Frank Gore? Yeah, what's up, Pete? Frank Gore, I don't have any interest in. Obviously not the guy I used to be, but the injuries really annihilated my season week 1 and needed to pick up a running back. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have any options, they're probably going to give Gore it's a brutal matchup, right? They're big underdogs. It's a brutal matchup. Richard Sherman being out didn't move the line, although people think like that's why the Jets are going to win now. No shot. I don't like Gore. Like Kalen Ballage activated. I'm sure they're going to give this like a 12 touch for Frank Gore, who's going to average like 3 yards a carry and nothing in the receiving game. Let me actually update how quick these comments come in. I'm going to update it to, let's go at 20 seconds so I can actually catch up to some of this stuff. I had it on like 3 seconds, but this should help get to all your answers a little bit better. Alrighty, cool. So for tight ends, Hunter Henry I have for 9.5 fantasy points, and I believe the other person that you asked about, I'll go with Hunter Henry there. Love your stuff, man. Just subscribe. Wondering which matchups you like more, Gallop versus Atlanta or Slayton versus Slayton? Slayton versus Slayton. I don't know what that means, but Gallop versus Atlanta is the answer there. Sal, who would you start? Montgomery, David Johnson, or Joshua Kelly? PPR flex. David Johnson, not even close. Kareem Hunt tonight or Michael Gallup Sunday? Michael Gallup. Woods, McLaurin, or Edelman? Woods. Swift or Kirk in the flex? Kirk. Do you think Odell can bounce back? I mean, Odell was fine. He had 10 targets and 5 of them were deemed uncatchable. So, like, everything looks like it was on Odell. Baker was very bad week 1. And he was only pressured 28% of the time, which is still a lot, but nowhere near last year's rates. So Odell was fine. He caught 3 of his 5 catchable targets, right? He drew 3 pass interference penalties. He had 5 uncatchable targets. Like, there's a narrative that he's not like the same person. And last year he played every single game with the sports hernia. He played injured. He played at what he called it 65% at most. He said 60 to 65% he was last year and still went over 1,000 yards. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of narrative against Odell, anti-Odell stuff. I think he's still fine. I think he's still good. I think that the quarterback is kind of the bigger issue for him. Marvin Jones or Mike Williams? Marvin Jones. Sanders this week? Yeah, seems fine to me. So what's your biggest hit on GBP? Just curious. $16,000 Rooskies. Burrow versus Stafford. Stafford, definitely. I love Kirk this week. So do I. A lot of questions coming in. Chris donates $3 to the Super Chat. He says, David Johnson, Montgomery, or Joshua Kelly? The answer is David Johnson. Yeah, if you want to make sure your question is like 100% answered, you can leave a Super Chat because then I see it. You don't have to, of course, but a lot of people asking questions, so trying to get to them. I just moved the actual time for how questions can come in from 5 seconds per question to 20, so I can try and catch up. Hayden Hurst or Evan Ingram? I actually like... Look, I have them both projected out pretty similarly. I actually like Hayden Hurst. He ran a ton of routes last week. He had the brutal matchup against Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams. Everybody else on that team was eating, including Russell Gage. All of them had 9 catches for 12 targets and over 100 yards. I have Evan Ingram for about 12 fantasy points. I have Hayden Hurst. Well, here's the exact projection. Hayden Hurst, 11.5 points. Evan Ingram, 11.9. I will just take Hayden Hurst and trust that offense a little bit more. The offensive line also looked pretty decent. DK or Edelman? DK. Lazard or Hines? Hines. I drafted Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Sanders, Ridley Robinson on Yahoo. Feel like I won already. Nice. Allen Robinson or Miles Sanders in the flex. I actually have Allen Robinson projected for more points. Why do you have Stafford as a yes? Why would I not have Stafford as a yes? I'll also change some of these on the screen behind me. Goddard, Jonnu, or Gesicki? I'll go Goddard there. What's going on, Kevin? How you doing? CEH, yeah, CEH. What do I say? CHE sometimes? Oh, well. Trubisky or Stafford? Stafford. Boyd or Fuller? Boyd. Diggs or Gibson in a standard league? Diggs. Diggs had a really good week, very quietly. Like, he had no big upside plays, but his route running is great in all aspects of the field. The issue is that is going to be Josh Allen going to be accurate. Josh Allen also threw 46 times, so, like, everybody's target share got inflated week 1, like, overall volume. Maybe not target share, but volume. Give Amari Cooper and Adrian Peterson and get Michael Thomas and Fournette. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have Michael Thomas not playing to be Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is going to miss 2 to 4 weeks probably, and after that, he's going to take about another month to get back up to speed. Michael Thomas is going to finish probably, I would say, outside the top 10 in overall wide receivers this year because of this injury, and I think Amari has a real chance if he stays healthy to finish within the top 10. I want to keep Amari right now. You can buy low on Michael Thomas, but buying low for me is not giving them Amari. Like, my actual expectations for Michael Thomas the rest of the year are not good. I'm taking Michael Thomas if I can get him on the really low, but I'm not taking him if I have to give up a borderline top 10 wide receiver in Amari Cooper. Like, Michael Thomas' arrow is completely pointing down. These high ankle sprains, it absolutely, like, plummeted Alvin Kamara and Saquon Barkley's upside last year. Like, absolutely plummeted them. Ruined them for 4 to 8 weeks overall, even if they were playing in some of those games. Not the same player. So, yeah, I just don't want Michael Thomas for if I'm trading another top-end wide receiver. And I don't even like Amari that much because of how many weapons they have in Dallas. I'm just really worried about Michael Thomas. Like, you might not actually see him step on the field for a month, and then he might not actually be back to 100% for a month after that. High ankle sprains take, on average, like 2 months to fully recover from. Odell or Corey Davis? I mean, that's just like it's Odell, right? Corey Davis has 1 good week for the first time in like 2 years, and Odell was overthrown on 5 of his 10 targets. Like, it's Odell. I'm not going to Corey Davis. Like, before last week, Odell, that's not even a question. 1 half decent week from Corey Davis. Like, the guy didn't even blow up. He barely hits 100 yards, right? It's not even close. Don't overthink it. Just play the better players. Watson, sit or play? I mean, who's your other option? Who would you flex PPR? David Johnson, Hollywood Brown, or Slayton? David Johnson. Chenault or Robbie Anderson? Robbie Anderson. CeeDee Lamb or Emmanuel Sanders, half-point PPR? This is a good question. I will go with... It's like a toss-up. I'll go Emmanuel Sanders. Sup, Sal? What's going on? How you doing? Start Roethlisberger or Trubisky? I'll go Roethlisberger. Swift or Kirk or Miller in my flex? I'll go Kirk. Landry or Boyd? That's a really good question. Landry or Boyd? I have Landry projected for more. Daniel Jones or Baker? Baker. Brown or Akers? Brown, but the answer is neither. What do you think of Adams on the Jets with Bell out? No interest. No interest in any of those backs. They're going to give Frank Gore touches. They're going to give Kalen Ballage touches. No interest. All right. Stafford or Murray? Murray's in a fantastic spot this week. Brady or Garoppolo? Brady. Fourth quarter, Mitch or Newton? Cam Newton for sure. What's going on? How you doing, Jannar? What receiver should I trade with Hunt and Odell? What receiver should I trade for? I mean, I don't know. There's so many receivers. Give me an actual receiver, and I'll tell you if it's good or not. Cam or Wentz? Another good question. I'll go Wentz if the offensive line is going to be healthy. Paris Campbell or John Brown for week 2? Paris Campbell. Diggs or Gibson? Standard. Diggs. Hurst starter sitter this week or put him in the flex? Who's your other options? I like Hurst this week, but what are your other options at? What do we got? Who'd you flex full point PPR? David Johnson. Wentz or Minshew? Wentz. DJ Moore or Calvin Ridley? Good question. I believe DJ Moore projected for more. Ridley I have at 16 points. DJ Moore I have at 16.6, so I'll give the edge to DJ Moore. Allen Robinson or AJ Green? Allen Robinson. Not really that close. Would you trade away Jonathan Taylor for Joe Mixon? No, I want Jonathan Taylor over Joe Mixon. There's like 4 running backs in the league that I wouldn't trade for Jonathan Taylor, maybe 5, and those are Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Zeke. And then the 5th one maybe is Josh Jacobs, but I want Jonathan Taylor. I personally think Jonathan Taylor is already a top 10 running back in the league the second he got drafted, arguably with his offensive line a top 5 running back in the league already. And his only issue, the only reason Jonathan Taylor wasn't a first-round pick in your fantasy drafts, like literally a top 8 pick, was because Marlon Mack was there. And now Marlon Mack's not there. So Jonathan Taylor is arguably the best zone running back in college football history. Like, that's not an overstatement. And now he's behind the best offensive lineman in Quentin Nelson and the best offensive line in the league behind the Colts, with the best quarterback who throws to running backs. The best situation on your offensive line for the best college zone runner potentially of all time, and now you have Phillip Rivers, who checks it down to the running backs more than anybody else. He made Danny Woodhead and Darren Sproles superstars, and also Austin Eckler superstars in fantasy. Like, there's a real chance Jonathan Taylor is going to finish as a top 5 running back, and a legitimate chance that he finishes as a top 3 running back this year. I would have drafted Jonathan Taylor in the top 5 this year, and in all of my drafts if he was there. He would have been a toss-up for me between him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire in their situations at 4. What do I do about Kittle? I think he's fine. I think Kittle's fine. Everything seems to be that he's fine. What's up, Sal? What have I missed? How long have you been live? I've been live for about 33 minutes, since 12 o'clock. You just missed a bunch of questions. I'm just answering a bunch of Stardom Cinema questions. This is the Thursday noon Stardom Cinema show, sponsored by A Monkey Knife Fight. What do we got here? CeeDee Lamb or Emmanuel Sanders? Emmanuel Sanders. Kason donates $5 and says 3 wide receiver leagues starting Allen Robinson and Robert Woods. Pick one. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, or DJ Shark and Cup. Love the content. Keep up the work. I appreciate you, Kason. Thank you for the donation. The answer is going to be for me there, DJ Moore. We got a lot of people hopping in. I'm going to answer some of these super chats first. Get to all those. And I'm going to try and get all the way updated on everything coming in. So I'm going to skip a bunch of people's questions. I'm sorry. You can answer them again if you want. Just don't spam the chat with the same exact question 50,000 times. But Fernando, should I stack Trubisky and Robinson? So, I mean, I'm not really answering DFS-related questions right now in your season long. That seems okay. I'd hope you have a better quarterback than Trubisky. In DraftKings, I mean, it's okay if you want to. I probably will have that stack. I don't know how many lineups. Definitely not a lot. My guy Sal, what's going on, Brown? How you doing? Hunt or Mostart? I will go Hunt there. Hurst or Higbee? I'll go Hurst. Gallop or Taylor? Full point PPR. It's going to be Taylor almost every single time. Taylor is one of my highest projected players this week. It's not even going to be close. It's just not even going to be close this week. Jonathan Taylor is going to be the answer almost every single time. There's like 5 other running backs that'll be projected higher for them outside of those guys. So I have Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Zeke, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And then after that, it becomes a toss-up between Jonathan Taylor and like Kenyon Drake and Aaron Jones this week for projections. Flex, Snell, Robinson, or James White? I'll go James White. Xavier donates $3. What's going on, Xavier? How you doing? I'm going to call you X. What's your thoughts on Laviska Shenault Jr.? Yeah, coming into the season, I love Shenault. It seems like he was active a lot in 3 wide receiver sets week 1. He got 2 running back snaps. So Shenault seems good. I'm not actually thinking that he's going to be like a top-ranked guy anytime this week or maybe even by next week, but he got enough snaps to actually look pretty good out there. Have him projected for 7.7 fantasy points this week. He has flex upside, but I probably wouldn't be starting Shenault unless it's like a 2-flex league at best. But yeah, everything from Shenault looked good. The rookie looked good out there, 2nd-round pick. It's kind of everything as advertised, the way that they used him around that offense. So yeah, a lot of upside for Shenault. Let me see the exact amount of routes that he ran. I think Shenault, he was mainly on the field in 3 wide receiver sets. So Shenault last week played 70% of the snaps. He ran 10 routes, and he saw 4 targets on those 10 routes. He saw a 20% target share. Keep in mind, the Jaguars, Minshew only threw 20 times. So seeing 4 targets is actually pretty good, 20% target share. So yeah, I think you're going to have to throw a lot more this week if you're the Jaguars. Double-digit underdogs. A little bit of a tougher matchup, but long-term upside good for Shenault. Like this specific week, probably not playing him in most spots. Woods or DJ Moore? I have DJ Moore projected for more. Gallop or Taylor? Kareem Hunt or Nyheim Hines in my flex spot. I'll go with Nyheim Hines. All right, so now we're all caught up. I just kind of jumped all the way down to the bottom. Can we start Hines and Taylor, half-point PPR? I'd only want to start one. You can start both. I have them both projecting out pretty decently. Would you go Goddard over Hurst this week? I don't know what to do. I'm going to be going Hurst there. Running back help needed. Trade offer Devin Singletary for Zach Ertz. Yes, I would definitely. Oh, I would want Zach Ertz. I'm not trading Zach Ertz away for Devin Singletary. I mean, Zach Ertz was a top 4-round pick for you, 4th-round pick, and Devin Singletary was like a 6th-round pick, or at least the talent of a 6th-round pick. Flex, who do you take? James White, Gage, or Williams? Which Williams? There's a lot of Williams in this league. The answer quickly is Gage. Campbell or Shark? Pick 2 for a super flex, Gallop, Gurley, or Jonathan Taylor. I mean, your super flex, you didn't even give me a quarterback there, so the answer is Jonathan Taylor. Diggs or Gallop? Diggs, AJ Green, or Hollywood Brown? AJ Green. Would you trade Raheem Mostert and Lockett for Le'Veon Bell and M. Brown? God, no. Oh, my God, no. Malcolm Brown and Le'Veon Bell for Raheem Mostert and Lockett? I wouldn't even trade both those guys for just Lockett. I mean, Le'Veon Bell is banged up. He's never going to be the same player. He's a cloud of dust, right? And then Malcolm Brown is going to be like a one-hit wonder like he was last week, week 1. Like so many people are blowing their fab budgets on Benny Snell and Malcolm Brown after 1 week. It's just comical. I put bids in for Nyheim Hines, but I put like $7 bids in. I wasn't blowing a budget on him. Like the amount of people that are blowing their fab budgets on guys like Malcolm Brown in a 3-headed backfield where one of the running backs was out and he had a good week last week on like 17 carries, right? And these types of backs like Benny Snell, who James Conner will be back in 2 weeks, still have Jalen Samuels, still have Anthony McFarland. Yeah. OJ Howard or Evan Ingram? Evan Ingram. Joe Mixon or Taylor? Jan Rodriguez, don't know, it's $5. He says, do you think trading Miles Sanders for Jonathan Taylor is a bit too risky? Currently have Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Gurley as my other running backs. I would trade Miles Sanders for Jonathan Taylor in a heartbeat. I want Jonathan Taylor over Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders I had ranked this year as like my RB10, right around my RB9, RB10. If Jonathan Taylor, like right now for the rest of the season, Jonathan Taylor is like around my RB5 and Sanders is like my RB10 or 11. So yeah. Jonathan Taylor is going to be a 3-down back in an offense that has the best offensive line and a quarterback who throws to the running back more than anybody else. So I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor there. Thank you for the super chat. Fred says, Sal, what are your top 3 running backs this week and your top 3 wide receivers? In rankings, like projection rankings, I mean, it's going to be the obvious choices. I don't have the Thursday. I don't have any of the night games. Thursday, Sunday, or Monday night games in my projections. Those are separate for Showdown. For the Sunday main slate, McCaffrey, Elliott, and Derrick Henry. Seems pretty obvious in my rankings. And then for wide receivers, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, and Julio Jones. There's your 3 highest projected at each position. Should seem kind of obvious. Landry, Shepard, or Traquan Smith? Landry. Fuller, Metcalf, Chubb, pick 2. Metcalf and Chubb. Are we worried about Sutton and Galladay? I have them both. Seems like both their shoulders were pretty close. So, no, I'm not worried about them. Where do you have Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, and half-point PPR, Nyheim Hines? I have Jonathan Taylor, Eckler, and Nyheim Hines in that order. I was offered Zach Moss and Nick Chubb for Jonathan Taylor. Should I do it? No, you should keep Jonathan Taylor. Kupp still safe as a wide receiver too? Sure. Fuller or Metcalf? Metcalf. Hurst or Preston Williams for flex? Let me see where I have Preston Williams. Not a great matchup for Preston this week. I have Hurst scoring more there. Wentz, Goff, or Minshew? Pick one. Wentz. Most are Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor by far. Jimmy G or Brees for this week, for week 2. Jimmy Garoppolo or Drew Brees? I have it right now, Jimmy G for 17 points, and I'll go Drew Brees there. It's pretty close. Why is this not coming through with the 20 seconds per comment? Let me do this. Let's do this. David Admin donates $5. Thanks, I appreciate it, David. He says, Washington or New Orleans defense, Sutton or Robbie Anderson? I will go with the New Orleans defense there, and I will go with Sutton. Landry or Lockett? Let me get Lockett. So is Eckler, Terry McLaurin for Jonathan Taylor a bad trade? If I get Jonathan Taylor, you were talking about how great he is, but you really love Eckler, I guess. I don't really love Eckler. I think Eckler's fine. I prefer Jonathan Taylor to Austin Eckler, but I'm not trading Terry McLaurin and Austin Eckler for Jonathan Taylor. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor is a top 5 running back in the NFL right now. Calvin Ridley or Allen Robinson? Allen Robinson there. Godwin, Robinson, OBJ, Hopkins. Do I risk waiting for Godwin injury news and sit OBJ tonight? You got 4 of those guys. How many can you start? Because then, you still got. I'm starting Robinson and Hopkins without a doubt. So then you're talking about your third option. Yeah, he's in the concussion protocol. If you want to take the risk, you can, and then just pick up Scotty Miller. I prefer Godwin. It's up to your risk tolerance. I'm probably just taking the risk. Trade offer. Devontae Adams for Jonathan Taylor, half-point PPR. I'm keeping Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is going to be the wide receiver 1 by a mile. Christian Kirk or Hines, PPR? Hines. Should I trade Crowder for Woods? I would want Woods in that situation. Pick 2 for my PPR flex, Deontay Johnson, Keenan Allen, or Emmanuel Sanders. Deontay Johnson and Keenan Allen. What do I do? Hines or AJ Green? Half-point PPR, AJ Green. Gibson, DeAndre Swift, or Scotty Miller in my flex? Oof, all awful options. Scotty Miller if one of those guys is out for Tampa Bay. What are your jock market calls? I will be talking about jock market on Sunday's live stream once the actual bidding starts, right? We don't have any IPO open. Thanks, Al. No problem, man. Kittle hurt. Play Doyle or Jonnu? Kittle's going to play, but if he doesn't play, Doyle. I'm happy to start Kirk this week. I would too. I have Rodgers. Should I trade Edwards-Helaire for Adams? I would want Edwards-Helaire. Wentz or Rodgers? Wentz. Start Jared Cook week 2. Depends on who your other tight ends are. OBJ or AJ Brown? OBJ. Odell or Hollywood Brown? Odell. Do I try and sell Michael Thomas for Jonathan Taylor? I would. Yep, I would. Ryan B. I answered that question like 5 times. AJ Green, Gallop, McLaurin, Juju, and pick 2 of these guys. Gallop and McLaurin. PPR flex, Hunt or Ridley? Ridley. Alrighty, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. So many questions being answered. I need a water right now. That's what I need. How y'all doing? How many people are in this thing? 350 damn people asking me start sitting questions. That's wild. Very fun, very fun. So, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. We've been live for 44 minutes. We're going to go live for 15 more. If you want your question definitely answered, you can leave a big old super chat as about 10 people have so far. Thank you all so much. Also, let me know in the live chat right now if this is your first time catching something of my work. Even if you're watching on the replay or on the podcast, you can let me know. Let me know that. I want to know how many people should find this stuff live. I know that almost 100 people subscribe for the first time during these shows, but let me know that. And I'm also going to leave up my Twitter here so you can follow me. I almost put in the Fantasy Labs Twitter because I have that pinned up. Not what I want. Although there's golf right now, basketball later, and then we got some football, so that's lovely. Shark or AJ Brown? I'll go AJ Brown. So go over to that Twitter, hit that button. But yeah, let me know if this is hit the like button, hit the subscribe, all that stuff. Let me know if it's your first time finding me. I'm curious. Marvin Marsh says first time. Welcome. Nice to meet you, Marvin. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. All that stuff. Yeah, I want to know what the reach is on these things when I'm live. I know it's very good, especially during Thursday night and stuff like that. But yeah. First time says Marvin. First time says Wesley. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Hope you're having a good day. Thanks for the pride. Like and subscribe. First time live. Nice, Gabriel. Nice. Last week was my first time, says Warren. Very good. Cool. Yeah, I'm always curious about that. I know that these reach a lot of people. Like last week, like 7,000 or 8,000 people watched this video, which is pretty damn good for having 27,000 subscribers. So I'm always curious on like how people find me and hitting that subscribe button if this is your first time. First time says Jerry. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's your gut feeling on Akers for the future? I think he's fine. Like long term, like dynasty for this year, it's gonna be an issue. If you drafted him as a 5th round pick, that's what you get out of him. You get the upside of him maybe being a top 2 round pick, and the downside of him being outside the top 8, so he doesn't really hurt your lineups. He's not your RB1 or hopefully not your RB2. First time here in the live, says Alex. Happy to have you. First time live, you're the best. Out, says PJ Shaw. Too kind. Yeah, man, this is fun. I don't really know what the upside is in a DFS or fantasy sports channel. I assume it's around the 100,000 subscriber mark, which I don't really care too much about. It's all arbitrary. Try not to look at the numbers too much. But I just like the live stream atmosphere, right? Communicating with strangers. Especially, my favorite parts are just not talking about football. Everybody's obviously here for me to answer the football questions, projections, all that type of stuff, rankings, whatever it might be. All that you can get on Patreon as well if you want to support over there. Favorite parts are actually talking about other shit. So ask me any other questions as well. If you have stardom synonyms for foods, life stuff, let me know. What does the X mean in your Y/nose? None of this is updated. Don't pay attention to this. X just means maybes. This has nothing to do with my season-long rankings, nothing like that. Just don't get too caught up in this. This is what I did on Sunday night and Monday morning. Everything that is updated will be updated later in the week for the Closing Thoughts show tomorrow for DFS purposes and is already updated on Patreon for now. Would you rather trade Shark or McLaurin? I don't want to trade either of them. They're both 4th round picks. They're both going to have a lot of upside. I wouldn't want to trade either of them. I prefer to have Shark for the entire season, but I don't want to trade either of them. Rivers or Burrow? Rivers. First year playing NFL, you were helping me out a lot. Nice. AJ Brown or Marquise Hollywood Brown? AJ Brown. Not a baseball person. Yeah, baseball sucks. I covered baseball DFS last year. The actual sport of baseball is terrible. I played all throughout high school, everything. I played every single year of baseball, so I actually have a reason. Like I can say this from 15 years of experience of playing baseball, maybe even more than that. Probably 15 sounds about right. 14. Yeah, baseball's a terrible sport the way that it's marketed, the MLB. They don't advance with the times. They have very sketchy social media rules for their content. They're just not good. They're going to die. Baseball is going to die. Golf was in this similar situation about 2-3 years ago, and then golf got caught up with the times. They got into sports betting. They widely accepted it. They grew partnerships. They grew their content game to a more inclusive, all-inclusive kind of avenue on Twitter and Instagram and all that. Baseball is looking for the short buck, and that's why their average age demographic is 50 years old. They are going to die. Baseball is a terrible sport. It's boring, and it's awfully it's up there with the WNBA in terms of how bad the marketing is. The WNBA, great sport. I like watching it, and if you make fun of it because it's females watching it, you are literally sexist, and there's nothing around that. That's what you are. It's a great sport. It's a competitive sport. It's fun to bet on. It's fun to play DFS with. Baseball is the opposite. It's just boring to watch, but they both suck at marketing their leagues. They need new marketing heads in all those areas. Too many old heads running those leagues. First live stream. Good stuff. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. Is Paris Campbell a 1,000-yard receiver? Yes, without a doubt to me, if he stays healthy. When do you usually go live so I can catch you every time? On my Twitter, I have a pinned up tweet that says my schedule for every single day. I go live on Monday nights, Thursday nights, noon on Thursdays, and before the games start. It's a pinned up tweet. You can try and you can check it out. It's on my Twitter. You can follow me there. I'll drop the link to my Twitter right here. And right on Twitter, it's pinned up. If you don't have a Twitter, that's fine. I don't have Twitter on my phone. I actually have all my social medias deleted off my phone, because social media addiction is a real thing, and I don't want that to happen to me as much as I can limit it. But yeah, it's pinned up on my Twitter, so if you do want to check it just for that or just check for news on Twitter, you can hop over to my Twitter, and you can find my YouTube content schedule, which every single day there's content going out in some place, some facet. First-time viewer, nice. Nice to meet you, Brian. He says, who do I start, Hines or AJ Green? Half point, AJ Green. Last week was my first week and love your content. Would you go Olsen or Hooper? I'll go Hooper, but thank you. I appreciate that, Palmer. 3 to start this week. Terry, Gallop, AJ Brown, or Woods. It's going to be Woods, Gallop, and Terry. AJ Brown, a lot of good wide receivers there, but AJ Brown's going to get the shank there. Ridley or Cup? Ridley. Favorite movie? Yeah, I'm not a huge movie guy. I like watching movies, but lately, the last 5 years, I just find them a complete waste of time. Yeah, I like Saving Private Ryan and Wolf of Wall Street. 2 totally different movies, but those are movies that I find myself going back to a lot. Inception, I think, is a fantastic movie as well. Those are some of my favorite movies. I like that question, though. But I'm not a huge movie guy. I like a lot of Christopher Nolan stuff. First time, says Wesley. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Try to pronounce my first name if you can. AJ Green or Brown. I'll go AJ Green over Hollywood Brown. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. I have no idea. Best pick for defense, main slate, FanDuel. I'm not entering any DFS-related questions in this show. Also, defenses, just pick the fucking cheapest ones. Big Ben over Trubisky? Sure. Sorry, you're the best around. Too many others talk a long time without saying anything. Thanks. Appreciate that. I think that's a compliment. Ribs or brisket? Man, I've only had like brisket once or twice in my life, but I love it. Like I like how, I mean, some people like playing with their food, right? Like actually having the ribs aspect to it. They're just so messy. They're just so hard to eat. You don't even get any meat. So, I mean, I've had brisket literally like twice in my life, and the answer is brisket. I've had ribs a bunch. The answer is brisket. Now, there's something weird about wings. Like, wings are the exact same thing as ribs to an extent of where you're playing with it, right? There's bones in it. It's hard to get the meat, but it's weird. I guess I like probably wings over brisket. More so probably for the atmosphere. First time I've seen you live. Appreciate the help. Yeah, no problem, Rick. Odell or AJ Green for tonight? I will go Odell there. Pick 2, PPR. Deontay Johnson, Emmanuel Sanders, or Keenan Allen? Deontay Johnson and Keenan Allen. Pick 2, Hunt, T.Y. Hilton, or Metcalf? Metcalf and T.Y. Hilton. Hunt or Ronald Jones? Hunt. I traded Gurley and Crowder for Miles Sanders. Thoughts? Seems okay. I think it's kind of a wash of a trade. Gurley and Crowder for Miles Sanders. I think you got the better running back, but you gave up probably a wide receiver 3. So if you have a good wide receiver depth, it seems fine. First time viewer, should I sign Hines or AJ Green? AJ Green. Should I get Chipotle or Jimmy John's? Chipotle. Always Chipotle. I don't even like Chipotle that much anymore. I used to eat it like every single day in college, but Chipotle is definitely healthier than Jimmy John's. So I'll go with Chipotle. More nutrients too. Hey, should I start Hawkinson or Fant? I'll go Hawkinson. Alternative Investing says, I just subbed. Welcome, welcome. Kyler or Josh Allen on DraftKings? Kyler seems to be cheap insane. Yeah, Kyler. AJ Green, so he donates $3, says Coop Beast. He says, I love your work. Thank you. He says AJ Green or Marquise Brown. The answer will be AJ Green for me there. Odell or AJ Green? Odell. Gallop or Gurley? Full point PPR. The answer, that's actually a good one. Let's see. Gallop or Gurley. Let's see what I have Gurley projected at. The answer is Gallop. AJ Green or Hollywood Brown? AJ Green. Judy or Melvin Gordon? Flex. Oh, man. They're both in brutal spots. I'll go Melvin Gordon. First-time viewer, liking and subbing, says Paul Yang. Appreciate you, Paul. DK, Edelman or Lazard in a PPR? I will go with DK Metcalf. I wish we could all play each other in DraftKings. Sal's DFS Bash for one weekend. Yeah, I can create a league on there and do that. I just don't want to deal with managing a league and all that type of stuff on DraftKings. Just don't want to do it. Maybe I'll do it for patrons, but that's about it. First-time viewer. Nice. Justin Brown donates $3. Appreciate you, Justin. Hope you're having a good day. Cup/Shark or Hilton for my wide receiver. Chubb or Malcolm Brown at running back. Definitely Chubb over Malcolm Brown. Not even close. Cup/Shark or Hilton at wide receiver. Out of those 3, I will be going with T.Y. Hilton. Snell or AJ Green? AJ Green. Is Stafford a top 12 half-point PPR for the rest of the season? Yes, Stafford was a top 8 quarterback in my rankings to start the year, so definitely. Half-point PPR doesn't matter for quarterbacks. Metcalf or T.Y.? Metcalf. Josh Allen or Stafford? Stafford. A lot of questions. I like it. Newton or Wentz? I'll go Wentz, but it's pretty much a coin flip. Mike Williams or Marvin Jones? Marvin Jones. OBJ or AJ Green? OBJ. Tyreek Hill or Jonathan Taylor? Jonathan Taylor. Lazard or MVS? Lazard. Thanks for the answer. It's pronounced Louis. It's pronounced Louis? The fuck? Nick Chubb or Hunt? Nick Chubb. Odell or David Johnson for the season? Running back and wide receiver pretty equal. David Johnson. Somebody says first. I don't know what that means. I have Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs as my running backs 1 and 2. Do I start Raheem Mostert or Jonathan Taylor at my flex? You start Jonathan Taylor without a question of the doubt, and you trade Raheem Mostert at his top value. What genre of music do you like? I like a lot of genres of music. I mainly listen to hip-hop and rap, but I listen to a lot of stuff. I like alternative rock, soft rock. I'll listen to pop. I'll listen to a bunch of stuff, usually when I run, because otherwise I'm listening to podcasts. I listen to a lot more podcasts than music now, though. Throughout college, it was definitely all music, but 90-something% of my listens are now podcast over music, but mainly hip-hop, rap, R&B. But I listen to pretty much everything. Not a huge country fan. Some stuff I like Zach Brown Band, but yeah. I think you should spend up at the flex this week. I'm not answering any DFS, so I'm not really sure. Chris Herndon or Jonnu Smith? I'll go Chris Herndon this week. 20% target share last week. Over a 20% target share. Looked really good. 7 targets, middle of the field. Looked really good. Darnold just didn't have time to throw. Darnold had the dead last protection rate in week 1. Not great. Any stock tips? Yeah, get a financial advisor. You'll never win in the long run playing individual stocks. So get a financial advisor. Get yourself set up properly through your financial advisor and accountant and all that stuff. If you're in that situation at that point, pay off all your debt before you start investing in stocks. It's arguable if you want to start your 401k before paying off your debt. I personally would pay off my debt before starting my 401k matches, but that's up to you. I am not a financial advisor. This is just from reading 10 financial advising books and listening to podcasts. But yeah, get a financial advisor. You will make much more money with a properly vested financial advisor in the long run and have much less headaches than trying to do it on your own. And if you're trying to buy individual stocks, like I just bought Tesla last week, and you're talking about the water cooler at work, you're a donkey. You literally are a donkey. Buying individual stocks is a great way to never make money. It's a great way to over leverage yourself. Individual stocks are a terrible investment. So stocks, don't invest in specific stocks. Invest in portfolios of stocks, which is just going to be your mutual funds, which is going to be your ETFs, all that type of stuff. Index funds. Eckler or Hines for my flex? Eckler. Nick Chubb or Hunt? Nick Chubb. Hey, Sal, you think Chris Godwin plays? No idea. I had a concussion that lasted a year, so I have no idea the severity of this guy's concussion. We'll find out. Drop Judy to add Corey Davis, Paris Campbell, Mike Williams, or Anthony Miller. I would want Anthony Miller and Paris Campbell. The answer is Anthony Miller, but I would really want Paris Campbell as well. I think Paris Campbell is the number 1 wide receiver on the Colts. Yes, I know T.Y. Hilton's there. I think Paris Campbell is the number 1 wide receiver on the Colts. Hey, Sal, should I lock up David Johnson this week against the Baltimore Ravens? Yeah, I think it's fine. Pick 2, AJ Green, Mike Evans, Ridley. Your question popped away. I'm sorry. Top 3 podcasts that I listen to. It depends on the genre. I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan. I listen to a lot of investing podcasts, money podcasts, that type of stuff. I listen to some comedy podcasts. I mean, sometimes it's Joe Rogan if there's comedians on. I listen to some DFS podcasts, but not really any more. Sometimes I listen to the Podfather because I think he's really good in the way that he is not self-serious. And then I listen to the GOAT Pat Mayo because he just has entertaining content that is also informative. But other than that, I really don't listen to DFS content. Like if I'm listening to Mayo, it's not related to NFL stuff. His Friday news show I listened to last week. I don't listen to a single drop of NFL content, like DFS, anything during the season. I just do my own research and I go from there. I try not to bias my own head with other people's thoughts when I'm doing the exact same work and probably better work than I would say like 95% of the podcasts or really 99% of the podcasts out there. So there's no reason to try and bias that. But yeah, I have all my podcasts on my phone, the ones that I follow. There's a lot. I mean, there's like all like the Wall Street Journal ones and Planet Money ones if you just want to get information. And then, yeah, it depends on your style of podcast that you're looking for. If you're just looking for comedy, self-help, I don't really use self-help stuff anymore. I did more so in college, like a year or two ago. The answer is Drake for every single possible question with music. It's the best artist in the world right now. What's good, fella? What's going on? I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Should I trade Darrell Williams to keep him on my bench? You don't need Darrell Williams. DK Metcalf or Cortland Sutton? DK. Lazard or MVS? Lazard. Kelsey or Andrews? For the rest, Kelsey every single week. Shark, McLaurin, or Shark in a full-point PPR? Yes, Shark twice, so I guess Shark. Allen Robinson, Juju, and Robert Woods. Pick 2. Allen Robinson and Robert Woods. I finally caught you live. How's it going? How's it going, Creed? How are you? Hines or DJ Moore in my PPR? DJ Moore. DJ Moore. Sup, Sal? What's going on, Mike? How you doing, my man? Yeah, we're about to be done here. I was just live for an hour, so I'm only doing an hour of these things a week, answering starting some questions. If you want to make sure 100% that your question is answered, you can leave a super chat. Otherwise, I'm about to bounce in like a minute. But if you do leave a super chat, I'll be sure to answer it. But other than that, a lot of people coming in with questions. I appreciate it all. Almost 400 people in here on a Thursday afternoon. So we're going to leave in about 2 minutes. I'll try and answer as many questions as I can. You can leave a super chat if you want to make sure it gets answered. Drake the GOAT, even his older stuff. Yeah, Drake, of course, is fantastic. He's incredible. Very versatile. Very good. Joe Mixon or Mike Williams in the flex? Joe Mixon. What's up, Sal? What's going on? How you doing? Edelman, Boyd, or Deontay Johnson? Let's go with Boyd. My guy Sal, great content, man. Should I lock up Scotty Miller in the flex this week? You have to keep an eye on what happens with the Tampa receivers. If Evans is healthy and Godwin's healthy, I'm probably not going Scotty Miller. Next time you get the brisket, get the marble cut. You'll thank me later. All right, I'll check it out. I'll try and remember that. Hurst or Kittle? Let's go with Kittle, of course, if he's healthy, if he's playing. Adam Thielen or Hopkins, full point PPR, Hopkins. Hey, Sal, should I start Paris Campbell over Galladay and Lockett? No. David Montgomery or Devontae Parker? Devontae Parker might not play. It's like he has a chance to play, so Montgomery. Goff or Danny Dimes? Goff. Gallop or T.Y. Hilton? It's a coin flip. I'll go T.Y., but it's a coin flip. Nice to see you live. Have a good rest of your day. Same to you. Same to you. Hit the like button before you go. There's 400 of you in here, and I saw like at least 20 people said it was their first time catching me. So be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live. You can also check over on Twitter. But yeah, be sure to hit all those things. I appreciate it. If you're still watching, go over to Monkey Knife Fight right now. monkeyknifefight.com, promo code SALNFL. You type that in, use the link in the description below. You'll get my DFS NFL course. It'll be mailed to you or emailed to you probably tomorrow morning if you sign up today. And you'll get $50 deposit bonus for the NFL season to go and make some over-under bets on there. It'll be very, very helpful. Should I give up Metcalf or Woods for CeeDee Lamb? No. Would you drop Cam Newton for James Robinson? I have Lamar Jackson as my main QB. It depends what your running back depth is. I don't think James Robinson is going to be all that great. Armstead should be back in probably a week, and then Ozigbo should be back in like a month. So Robinson's going to have to lock up the job in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I would just keep. I mean, if you have Lamar, yeah, go ahead and do it. But you're probably not going to use much of him. Eckler or Joe Mixon as my RB2. Mixon. DJ Moore, James Robinson, or Zach Moss? DJ Moore every day of the week. Trade away Connor for Michael Thomas. Yeah, they're both injured. Go ahead, get Michael Thomas. Hey, Sal, got it or Hurst? Hurst. Gabriel Sanchez donates $1 just for fun. Thank you, Gabriel. Too kind. Too kind, my man. James Robinson or Malcolm Brown? Let's go with James Robinson or Malcolm Brown. We'll go with James Robinson. Don't like either, though. Liked and subscribes. James White or Benny Snell? James White. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome along. Welcome, Johnny. If you subscribed within this video, let me know. Fellas. Ingram or Mostart? I'll go with Mostart. Thank you for answering my question. Just subscribe. Appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate you a ton. First time here says Jason. Welcome to all the new people. Should I start Baker or Jimmy G? I'll go with Baker there. OBJ or Hunt? Definitely OBJ for me. Thanks, Al. No problem right away. PPR, Carson or Mostart in the flex? Carson. Pick 2. OBJ, T.Y. Hilton, or DK or Woods? Let's go with Woods there and T.Y. Hilton. Matt Ryan or Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson for sure. Cooper Kupp or Scotty Miller? Cooper Kupp. Will Fuller or Mark Ingram? Will Fuller. Gurley or Gallup? Full point PPR? Gallup. Lazard, James Robinson, or Swift? I'll go with Lazard there. Alrighty, I think we're good to go. If you want the full projections for every single position for the Sunday games, rankings, all that, it's on Patreon down below. It definitely helps for DFS, but also sports betting, also season long, all that stuff. I don't really answer questions anywhere else on season long. You can leave them in the comment section if you're still here. Chance to win $50 if you go over to iTunes, the Sal Vetri Show. It takes 30 seconds to hit subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and review. $50 winner announced every Sunday. I'll reach out to you, leave a way for me to contact you. But I'm about to bounce. We got about 30 seconds left, so if you want to guarantee your answer is your question is answered, you can leave a super chat and I'll see it. But we're about to bounce. We've been live for an hour and 4 minutes. We're going to go to an hour and 5. Like and subscribe. AJ Green, Sammy Watkins, wide receiver 3. AJ Green. T.Y. Hilton or Hollywood Brown, a half-point PPR. T.Y. Hilton. Pick 1. Hunt, James White, or Robinson. James White. No. We'll go Hunt. Just a reminder, I'll be live tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time until 7 p.m. So in less than 5 hours for the $300,000 to first DFS DraftKings slate. If you don't play DraftKings, be sure to check out DFS. A lot of fun. That's where I primarily specialize in, but obviously season long, all that stuff as well. But yeah, DFS is where I got started. It's a ton of fun. 1 game slate tonight, $300,000 to first the Battle of Ohio, number 1 overall pick versus number 1 former overall pick in Baker Mayfield versus Joe Burrow. Should be kind of fun. Gallop or Hollywood Brown? Gallop. We got 15 more seconds if you want to get a question in. Otherwise, I'm bouncing. Hines or Carson in the flex? I'll go with Carson. Actually, no, let's go Hines. Hurst or Jonnu? I'll go Hurst. Hey, Sal, Galladay or Lockett? The answer is Galladay if he's healthy. AJ Green or Metcalf? Metcalf. That's it. We're done. Hour and 5 minutes. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. Please do hit the like and subscribe button before you go. Thanks, Sal. Liked and subscribed. Peace out. Peace out, PJ Shaw. If you're brand new, 2 seconds of your time, bottom right-hand corner. It's on the screen right now, actually. You can see that button that says subscribe. You click that. It takes 2 seconds. Thank you so much. If you're watching on the replay, like and subscribe. Be sure to check out Monkey Knife Fight. Promo code SALNFL. 50% deposit match, or $50 deposit match, sorry. Straight up $50 you get from them. And you'll get my NFL DFS course, 10 plus hours of courses, a bunch of downloadables. Check that all out. Linked down below. It's a player prop site. So peace out. I appreciate all of you. We're going to put this end screen up right now. I'll see you all in the next one, which is going to be tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern time, talking about the Thursday Night Football Showdown slate for DFS. All right, gang. Peace out.